Why is Africa rich in resources but poor in dignity? Discover the truth behind the global paradox. Ladies and gentlemen, heads of state, representatives of nations, international partners. Today, I bring you the voice of a people who stand tall. A people who have suffered, resisted, and decided never to bow again. Burkina Faso, like many African nations, faces immense challenges: insecurity, poverty, foreign interference, and historical erasure. Yet, we have chosen not to endure our fate, we have chosen to transform it. Africa is not poor. It is being plundered. How can the richest continent in natural resources be home to the poorest populations? We have gold, manganese, sunlight, water, fertile land. And yet, our children cross oceans, risk their lives, and flee their homeland. Clearly, this paradox is not destiny, it's the result of a global system that refuses to see us as equal partners. Moreover, Africa thinks. Afrika acte. We are not puppets. We are not executors of policies dictated from abroad. Africa has ideas, visions, and solutions. Therefore, it's time for our leaders to stop echoing imperialist rhetoric. It's time to speak with our own voice, think with our own minds, and act for our own people. Defending one's homeland is not a crime. When African people take up arms to defend their land, they're labeled militias. But when Europeans do the same, they're called heroes. This double standard is unacceptable. Our volunteers for the defense of the homeland are not mercenaries. Rather, they are sons and daughters of the people, ready to protect their future. Africa doesn't reject cooperation, it demands respect. Here's what true partnership looks like. We do not reject cooperation. On the contrary, we seek it. However, it must be based on mutual respect, sovereignty, and dignity. We welcome partners who extend a hand without trying to bind us with invisible chains. In disregard. Russia has shown that another path is possible, one where Africa is not a market. Bhutan Ali. Bread is not enough. We need freedom. We thank those who support us, who send grain, who help feed our people. But we don't just want to eat. More importantly, we want to decide. We want to produce. We want to build autonomous food systems, tailored to our realities and free from external dependence. At the same time, we must learn from nations that have achieved development. But we must not blindly copy their models. Africa has its own realities, cultures, and rhythms. Consequently, development should not be imitation, it should be creation. Let us also remember our grandfathers were deported to help liberate Europe from Nazism. They fought, suffered, and were often forgotten. Their sacrifice must not be erased. Instead, it must be recognized, taught, and honored. Africa's history did not begin with colonization, it began with resistance, dignity, and contribution to humanity.
Raised fist real change doesn't come from above. It rises from the people. Africa is leading its own revolution. Today in Burkina Faso, the people themselves have decided to take their destiny into their own hands. They organize, defend, and rebuild. This grassroots movement proves that change will not come from above. It will come from below. In truth, the people are the engine of transformation. Unfortunately, too often, our heads of state remain silent in the face of injustice. They repeat the words of foreign powers instead of defending their people. This silence is betrayal. Therefore, it's time for African leaders to speak with courage, truth, and loyalty to those who elected them. Above all, we don't need permission to be free. We don't need to negotiate our dignity. Africa must rise, not against the world, but for itself. It must affirm its place, its voice, and its future. Africa's youth are asking hard questions. It's time we give them honest answers. Meanwhile, our youth ask 1,000 questions. Why are we poor? Why must we flee? Why can't we live with dignity at home? These questions deserve answers. And clearly, those answers won't come from foreign powers. They will come from us. For this reason, I pay tribute to all African peoples fighting for their freedom. To those who fall, to those who resist, to those who hope. Their struggle is noble. Their cause is just. And their victory is inevitable. Furthermore, Africa must weave international relationships based on respect, transparency, and reciprocity. We no longer want one-sided partnerships. Instead, we want strong, lasting, and balanced alliances. Triangular flag on post